So today I'm going to be talking about my NCCP coaching, which I did for PBL 3.0, which is gym class in grade 11. It was a lot different from grade 10 and a lot different from grade 9. There was a lot more health units, and it was actually more geared towards actually turning gym, healthy lifestyle into actually something you do on a daily basis. That in grade 9 and 10 it was more just about going outside, but PBL 3.0 really opened my minds to the health benefits of just going outside, having fun, and exercising, keeping in shape. And we had to do this coaching seminar, which was the NCCP, which basically allows us to get our coaching certificate, which allows us to coach. So this is a very necessary diploma because I might know a lot about tennis, Mr. Moores might know about rugby, but there are certain steps for us to become coaches. Even though we play the game for a long time, we can't just become coaches. Therefore, this diploma is very necessary. And so I was given a list of questions that I'm supposed to answer from this whole unit in PBL 3.0. And the first question is, what did you learn from the experience? So what I learned from the experience is really setting yourself up for success. And what I mean by that, it's not necessarily something about talent. That coaching isn't really something that is naturally genetic. Some people are just better than sports, but it's not really the case with coaching. It's really just putting yourself in that figure where you're in charge and actually getting people to listen to. So if you're dressed messy, you show up late, and you don't really know what you're talking about, you're disorganized, that's going to really give a bad impression, and also towards younger kids because they're very impressionable and they'll replicate your actions. So that's one thing that I really learned from the experience, and I thought it was pretty interesting, this unit, because I know personally that after doing this coaching, I realized how Mr. Moores, Mr. Skembry use these tactics effectively to make gym classes really fun. So how are you going to use this in the future? So as I said, that it's all about representation and it's applying that persona, that it's great to know people, it's great to be friends with people, it's great to do that, but you have to really put yourself aside from your friends and being a coach. So I know that I was a JOL, so basically there were some grade 10s who I was friends, but I had to remain across that line. There's friend, there's leader, and also there's the gray zone. So sometimes you're in that gray zone where you're kind of a friend, you're kind of a leader, and that is something where I need to stop. That even if I decide to coach in the future, that I will use this, but also when I'm running an event, when I'm organizing a spirit day, some collection, fun run, that I shouldn't let things slide just because my friend doesn't want to show up or doesn't bother. That I should keep a consistent record without all my people. So if you were to get involved in coaching a sport, what would it be? So 100%, I think that the number one sport that I would coach is tennis. So I played tennis for years. It is by far one of the hardest sports to play. It's a very, very specific skill. What do you mean that it's not really transferable? I'm not saying that sports are hard. If you're a star football player, not necessarily going to be a star basketball player. But I'm just saying that it's easier for athletes to transfer or dabble in another sport, but tennis is simply not the case. It's a very specific skill, and also it is extremely, extremely hard to improve. Tennis players, people like Jacob Nielsen, they train 4 or 5 hours a day. I remember when he went to Appleby, he actually needed a room close to the door so he didn't wake people up. He would wake up at 4:30, drive to Ace, hit balls, go to school, after school, same thing. It's so hard to improve, and just taking 1 week off really detriments your game. It's all about consistency, and also tennis is a really mental game, and I feel like I have experiences where I've lost matches and I cried and I threw tantrums and I thought that was a pretty bad experience, and I think kids are especially vulnerable, especially kids that I'd be coaching who are 7 and 8, so to actually teach them importance that tennis is a very mental game, and it's something that requires willpower. It's something that needs to be extended, and just try your best, go out there and keep extending that willpower next time. Just keep pushing yourself, and eventually you will reach success. So, what did you learn more about coaching? So this is somewhat of a build-on question to what did you learn from this? So what I learned more about coaching is also appealing to an audience, which was actually a very big thing I discovered, because I talk, or like when I lead, when I'm in a leadership position, I'm mainly leading senior ones, maybe senior twos, or maybe upper twos. Sorry. So a very like mature audience, or around the same maturity as me. So if I tell a joke, they're going to laugh, they're going to gather attention, they're going to enjoy themselves. And that's one way I would use as a tactic to gather people's attention. However, when I did this for a middle school audience, when I was coaching tennis with Dahan and Fabian, I told a joke that absolutely went bananas, and that was a very bad experience. That instead of just laughing subtly, being respectful, they went completely bananas and they were being very disruptive. So that's one thing that I have to do, that you have to modify your leadership styles and also the way you coordinate language when you're dealing with a different audience. So what were some difficulties and how did you overcome them? So some difficulties was, I think it's a very common thing with middle schoolers and even maybe the beginning of grade 9, the whole boys-girls things, that there were boys on one court, there was girls on another court. And boys and girls can have lots of fun together, and they should be encouraged to meet new people, make new friends, because in life, you're going to be working with girls, you'll be working with boys, and you'll rely on them for communication, getting stuff done for you, leading your business. That is just a fact of life. So that was a really hard thing, and the way we overcame with this is that you had to have a girl partner. It was couples, one boy, one girl. We played King of the Court doubles. It went absolutely fantastic. I remember at the beginning the boys and the girls were pretty shy. They said vague sentences like hi, but at the end of it, when they won their points, they would give high fives, they would encourage each other, say your backhand improved, and I thought that was really great. So what did you enjoy about the certification? So I think the most I enjoyed about the certification wasn't actually the coaching part. I'm not saying it wasn't really fun and I didn't learn a lot, but I think I really liked the idea. I liked the lessons that Mr. Moores and Skembry set out about sort of the science behind it. That these kids, that they're playing these sports, middle school sports, that it's not that they lack skill, it's that they haven't fully developed their swings. They haven't fully engineered the right mechanics for a perfect throw. And I found that really interesting, that when age 4 and 6, that their throws are very small, not just because they're weak, it's because their technique isn't developed. It's something that's developed over time, and I found that really interesting, and that was the most influential part of the whole unit. So thank you, Mr. Moores, thank you, Mr. Skembry, for this unit, and I'm looking forward to doing more coaching in the future. Might even obtain a summer job in Barbados. So thank you. It's been me, Luke, and catch you later.